Okay, we're in Ezekiel the 29th chapter, and we're talking about how the Father used Nebuchadnezzar in the region of what we know as Asia Minor, Northeast Africa, all those nations in that region. And that includes the big dogs of the known world at that particular time, which was from 610 before Common Era up until what, 605 before Common Era. That's what we're dealing with. The time that the Father used Nebuchadnezzar to whoop up on Egypt and Syria and Israel. All right, and Yah called Nebuchadnezzar in Jeremiah 25 his servant.
And understand this about how time unraveled. It wasn't like Nebuchadnezzar came out of nowhere and he came right into the land. He became a king.
Right.
He came right into the land. He destroyed us. He took us into captivity, and then he went away in his land. It wasn't like that.
Okay.
When he became power, as far as the king is concerned, it was understood that he was coming. Y'all told Jeremiah to tell us, hey, when he comes, hey, submit yourself.
Submit to him. That's right.
We would have still been in the land.
Right.
We would have just been paying tribute to him.
Right.
But we still would have been. It wouldn't have been no captivity like it turned into.
Right.
But we fought him.
We fought him.
And he had to begin to crumble us.
Right.
Y'all just gave him the authority to just, okay, go on and take him out then.
Yep. He put the king in his hands. Very good. So I want to deal a little bit with this battle of Carchemish. I want to read a little bit from this. This is from the Encyclopedia. How you pronounce that? Britannica.
Britannica, that's it.
And it says, the effects of Jeremiah's prophecy, Jeremiah the Hebrew prophet, the lifetimes, near the time of the battle of Carchemish in 605 before Common Era, when the Babylonians decisively defeated the Egyptians and the remnant of Assyria, Jeremiah delivered an oracle against Egypt, realizing that this battle made a great difference in the world situation. Jeremiah soon dictated to his scribes Baruch and scroll containing all the messages he had delivered to this time. The scroll was read. The roll of Nebuchadnezzar II returned to Babylon after Babylonians reversed at the hands of Egypt in 605 to 606 before Common Era. He served as commander-in-chief in his father's place by a brilliant generalship, scattered the Egyptian army at Carchemish and Hamath, thereby securing control of all Syria. After his father's death on August 16, 605 before Common Era, Nebuchadnezzar returned to Babylon and ascended the throne within 3 weeks this rapid. Now we're saying all of this because we want you all to go behind us, and we want you all to see that everything that the Most High said concerning Egypt has come to pass. I'm sick and tired of these Egyptologists talking about Israel don't exist, Abraham don't exist, and Egypt is the way to go, when the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob destroyed Egypt. Egypt doesn't have a real God. And they're always talking about science and world history. And that's why we're dealing with it like this, on this level, so you can go behind us and check out. Any Egyptologists deal with the battle of Carchemish, their argument is over. They have nothing else to talk about, all right? Nothing else. If you bring up the battle of Carchemish, once they honestly study that, if they call themselves a true scholar, because a true scholar is non-biased, they just use information. If you're a true scholar and you look at the history of Nebuchadnezzar, what he did to Egypt, and what the Bible said prior to it, what's recorded in world history, you'll know that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is YAHWAH, lives. And he rules in the kingdom of men. All right? And his word is real. And it's sharper than any two-edged sword. All right? Let me read a little bit more of this, the history of the Mesopotamian Nebuchadnezzar. It says, he trained him carefully for his prospective kingship and shared responsibilities with him. When the father died in 605, Nebuchadnezzar was with his army in Syria. He had just crushed the Egyptians near Carchemish in a cruel, bloody battle and pursued them into the south. On receiving the news of his father's death, Nebuchadnezzar returned immediately to Babylon in his numerous buildings. And it says Necho, N-E-C-H-O, the second, was the pharaoh at the time of the battle of Carchemish that the father used to destroy all the gods of Egypt. Amun-Ra, all of them. The Anubis, the one with the jackal head, Yah destroyed all of them. Yah destroyed all of them with Nebuchadnezzar. And this began the end of the age as we know it. This began the beginning of the reign of the Gentiles, and the Gentiles is going to run this world until Yahushua returns. And we all know and we see that the Gentile, Goyim, the white man, runs the world to this very day. So we see that everything the Bible said is correct. All right? It says Necho II was slain in the battle at Megiddo. Necho replaced Josiah's chosen successor with his own nominee and imposed tribute on Judah. In 606, the Egyptians routed the Neo-Babylonians, but at the great battle of Carchemish, a Syrian city on the middle Euphrates River, in 605, the Neo-Babylonians' crown prince Nebuchadnezzar soundly defeated Necho's troops and forced their withdrawal from Syria. That's world history. Now let me give you biblical world history. All right, Ezekiel 29, you all. And we're going to start from the first verse. Ezekiel 29. It says, in the 10th year, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, the word of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and prophesy against him and against all Egypt. Now, I read from you from the encyclopedia of Jeremiah's prophecy. I'm going to read from you out of the Bible Ezekiel's prophecy, because all of them spoke concerning this same issue.
Verse 3?
Yeah, verse 3.
Speak and say, Thus saith Adonai YAHWAH, Behold, I am against you, Pharaoh king of Egypt, the great dragon that lies in the midst of his rivers, which have said, My river is my own, and I have made it for myself. But I will put hooks in your jaws, and I will cause the fish of your rivers to stink unto your scales, and I will bring you up out of the midst of your rivers, and all the fish of your rivers shall stick unto your scales. And I will leave you thrown into the wilderness, you all and all the fish of your rivers. You shall fall upon the open fields, you shall be brought together, nor you shall not be brought together, nor gathered. I have given you for meat to the beasts of the fields and to the fowls of the heavens.
Now this is Yah explaining in poetry, in symbolism, what he feels about Egypt and what he's going to do to Egypt. And as you read this, picture in your mind the condition of Egypt today. Egypt went from, think of America, the greatest cities, not the slums, but think of the greatest cities in America that you visited, and then think of the slums. Think that it went from the greatest to the worst, or from America to a third world country. That's what Egypt went to when Yah got through with it. He didn't totally destroy it completely, but he destroyed it. It never was the same old glory that it was in its heyday. From the time of Nebuchadnezzar until today, Egypt has not been a main player on the world stage of running the world. And we see that from Nebuchadnezzar's dream that was inspired by the father, who was a Babylonian, who we read in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. It told us that Nebuchadnezzar's men, the magicians, the sorcerers, the witches, the warlocks, none of the men could interpret the dream nor tell him what the dream was. And we came to the conclusion that they couldn't do that. Why? Because they was not inspired by Yah. Because that dream was prophecy, right? That dream foretold the future. And we know that the Bible is a prophetic book more than it is a history book. See, all you Egyptologists is looking for the Bible to look back in history. It has history in it, but it's more prophetic because the future is longer than the past, because the past has a beginning. The past started with Adam. The past has a beginning, whenever it began. But the future, for the children of Israel, for righteous men and women, for saints, there is no ending. So the future is eternal. So the future is way bigger than the past. The Bible is a prophetic book. And prophetic simply means, it simply means to speak, to be influenced by inspiration of the Father. And that's all it simply means, is to be influenced by Yah's Spirit. And Yah's Spirit is today, His Spirit was yesterday, and His Spirit is tomorrow. That's why when you read Revelation, and Yah greets us through John and through the Messiah, He said to the one who is, who was, who is yet to come. That is explained in Yah's Spirit. That's prophetic. History, present, and future. And when you understand that, you understand what the prophetic is. And that's what the Bible is. It's very prophetic. All right? And so, let's read a little bit more of this Ezekiel 29. Pick it up where you left off, Israel.
Verse 6. And all the inhabitants of Egypt shall know that I am YAHWAH, because they have been a staff of reed to the house of Yisrael.
See that? And we need to know what that means. And we will let the Spirit deal with us and give us that interpretation. Let's continue on.
When they took hold of you by your hand,
come on,
they did break and rend all their shoulder. And when they leaned upon you, they broke and made all their loins to be at a stand. Therefore thus said Adonai YAHWAH, behold, I will bring a sword upon you and cut off man and beast out of you. And the land of Egypt shall be desolate and waste.
Is Egypt desolate and waste today? Is Egypt desolate and waste today? Y'all spoke this what, 605 before Common Era? Let's continue on.
And they shall know that I am YAHWAH, because He hath said, the river is mine and I have made it.
Look at that.
Behold, therefore I am against you and against your rivers, and I will make the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, utterly waste and desolate, from the tower of Seir, even unto the border of Ethiopia.
Because we know that the Nile River and the Blue Nile, the White Nile, is the main vein of Egypt's civilization, and they worship that. They worship that, and they worship the sun, because that's their source of life. But Yah is saying, I'm the source of life. I created that river. And see, this message is to prepare you all for the influx of these lies that's coming from those that want to take us backwards. So you all are going to be prepared not to fall for that dirty old trick of going back to Egypt. We ain't going back there. Y'all destroyed it. And it's not ever, ever, ever coming back. Let Egypt go. Let the walls of Egypt go. It ain't happening. All this science, it's a wrap. We see it today. Yah said it. And nobody has been able to prove Yah a liar since the days of Nebuchadnezzar till the day. I challenge all you Egyptologists to go back in history from the time of Nebuchadnezzar till today and disprove what Yah did to that nation. Disprove it.
And here's the thing, because they can't disprove it.
No, they can't.
This is the thing that they do now. They now say it was because of their interaction with us. Now they're going to call it, now they're going to say we're the problem.
Yeah.
It was because they began to help us and aid us and bail us out of all our problems.
I thought we didn't exist.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point.
Which one is it?
They go back and forth.
Back and forth.
So you'll have a body of them who will hold fast that we don't
exist. Abraham never existed.
And then you have the other body of them that can't disprove history.
Right.
Be like, well, we failed because we kept aiding y'all. We kept helping y'all.
Right.
That y'all depleted us in our resources. That when Nebuchadnezzar finally came to battle us, we could not stand the battle. But this is what you couldn't stand. you couldn't stand against Yah's word.
That's right. You couldn't stand against his word.
His word, he says, his word will go out and it will accomplish.
That's right.
All that it had set out to do.
But,
and it will not return to him void.
Come on.
Well, see, the whole thing too is that
Speak up so he ain't gonna take this,
the notion that Egypt was one continuous monolithic rulership is first of all false. I mean, going back thousands of years, it was constantly changing hands between
up and down.
the Nubians because the actual ethnic Egyptians was not always in power.
No.
You know, they constantly was changing hands with the Libyans, the Hittites, the Assyrians, the Nubians to the south, and so you got different dynasties. A lot of what Egyptologists is dealing with is the New Kingdom. You look at all of the kings and the pharaohs that they talk about.
Even
it's mainly just the New Kingdom that they be dealing with.
And some people say we were the Hyksos.
Right. Some people say that we were the Hyksos.
Right.
But it was constantly, you know, dynasties of different ethnic groups from the surrounding people. So it was never. It's not as if it was you guys' fault that we lost the kingdom. That's false because you lost the kingdom many occasions before.
It was up and down.
Right. It was up and down. It was, you know, Nubians ruled Egypt for a while. Hittites ruled Egypt for a while. Libyans ruled Egypt for a while. So there was different dynasties of different ethnicities within the Hamite, within the Commission family,
right?
But not necessarily the ethnic Egyptians. Right. And so, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, it's a fallacy to say that it's the fault of the Hebrews of the downfall. And no, that throne been passed around. That crown been passed around.
You can't have it both ways. Either we exist or we didn't.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Either the Hebrews exist or they didn't. But what we're doing is that we're trying to stop not an onslaught, but from it even becoming that. Because we know that the Egyptologists are recruiting Hebrews, you know, with that sexy, attractive knowledge of the mystery system. And we're here to tell the Egyptologists, we heard the lie before.
Let my people go.
Right, it ain't working. Not here in Chicago, it ain't working. And brothers up in New York doing that, but here in Chicago, we ain't going for it. It ain't happening. And we're showing you via the scriptures that it ain't happening, and don't even get entangled with the yoke of bondage again. Because Egypt is a wrap. Let's read a little bit more. We're still in Ezekiel 29.
Verse 11. No foot of man shall pass through it, nor foot of beast shall pass through it, neither shall it be inhabited 40 years. That's exact numbers.
Yep.
Exact numbers. Go back and do your research, children.
Come on.
Go back and do your research. Yah gives numbers, and when he gives numbers, they are accurate.
Yes, it is.
To the exact day.
Come on.
40 years after they are to fall as a nation, they would not have been inhabited.
Nope.
This is how the transition occurred that mongrels began to inhabit the land.
Right. Yep.
How did it change?
Right.
How did Jews, if we from Israel, how did Jews get there?
Right. Right.
We had to desist from the land.
Right.
In order for somebody else to move in.
Absolutely. So
for 40 years, y'all just said 40 years, nothing gonna happen then.
And those, the dynasties, the chronological order of Egypt dynasties is off. It depends on what scholar you listen to, it's all different. And it don't line up with our history because they don't know our history, and they act as if Egypt, since its time is considered to be older than ours, so they use Egyptians' timeline as if it's correct. And they say, well, when was Joseph? Was Joseph during the time of Ramses? But was Moses during the time of Ramses? And they don't understand that during different dynasties, those dynasties, some of them were parallel, all of them went right after each other, and they're not correct. It's all theoretic. You cannot